Hello, this is just a brief introduction to the cooperative business model and also beginning to think about how that might be applied to a housing cooperative. So typically, a cooperative is when a group of people who share a particular need get together and try to meet that need collectively. By being a member of a cooperative, you rely on collective strength and collective resources rather than individual strength. A cooperative is not a money-making business. It's a business that exists for the benefit of its members. It takes upon itself the provision of needs by taking them out of the profit-making sector. Because a cooperative has a very different purpose to conventional businesses, it has a particular legal structure known as an industrial and provident society. And that sounds very 19th century, and in fact it is. It was created by an Act of Parliament in 1852 to meet the needs of the growing cooperative movement. And instead of the business being owned by a group of shareholders who don't actually run the business, a co-op is run by its members, and they also share the ownership of the business and have voting rights on how it is run. I'm stating the obvious, but in a cooperative, we seek to do things for ourselves. And for example, people in a housing cooperative could seek to become their own property developers rather than leaving that task to major house builders, for instance. And a housing cooperative would still have to pay for goods and services like builders, suppliers, architects, solicitors, etc. But the business of property development would be handled by the cooperative, and that in itself could save 25% on the cost of property. In a housing cooperative, you could be a tenant and a landlord, all at the same time, because the business is owned by the customers. So, for example, you might not own the property you lived in, but you could own a share in the company that owned that property. And you could help run that company, not for pay, but for provision, the provision of your and others' housing needs. Cooperative working offers a complete rethink on matters of trade and ownership. Anyway, there's so much more to say about the different types of housing cooperative. This is just a brief introduction to the idea, and there'll be much more to follow in later presentations. Thanks for listening.